Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to session 2 of the 2024 USA Powerlifting Bench Press National Championships here in beautiful Greenville, South Carolina. Once again, you are joined by myself, Nick Stevens, USAPL coach, commentator, competitor, referee, and all-around avid fan of the sport. And for this session, my co-host is the phenomenal, the wonderful, the strikingly handsome.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kevin Serrano, also coach, commentator, competitor, meet director, referee, all the above.
And we are excited to get y'all rocking and rolling through this session of the Bench Press National Championship. This is the last session of the Bench Press National Championships. We have 4 total flights today, so it's going to be a big session. But we're just going to keep the ball rolling. Me and Kevin are going to be narrating the action on the screen for you all the entire time. Gino is giving us the wonderful send-off, so that means the bar must be loaded for our very first lifter. And now this is Mr. Eugene Weiss. Eugene Weiss, he's going to open with 70 kilos on the bar. And now Eugene Weiss, his wife, Helene Weiss, actually competed in the session prior to and did the elusive world record hat trick. Got 3 world records in a row, 3 for 3 on her bench attempts. And now we're going to see the husband, Eugene Weiss, starting off phenomenally. All right, coming up next, Mr. Sean Patterson. He's going to take 80 kilos.
Sean is lifting in the Teen 2 division, 16 to 17 years old.
And ladies and gentlemen, if this is the first session you're tuning in, this is the Bench Press National Championships. And so we are only going to be seeing bench press today. There will not be a squat session, nor will there be a deadlift session after this. So all we're going to get is bench press. So we're going to get a ton of information from both Kevin and I, as we're both coaches. We're pretty well-rounded in the sport, so we can try and give you our best insight as to some techniques and some differences in programming, attempt changes that some lifters might do. Being that we're both referees, we could also kind of give you an idea of what some of the infractions might be on the platform. If you're looking at the bottom of your screen here, you're going to see our heads-up display. So we're going to see all the lifters' information as well as their attempts. Here's Mr. Sherman. Beautiful 214-pound opener.
For those of you watching at home, in the bench press, we have 3 commands. We have the start, press, and rack command. Our chief referee is going to call the start command as soon as the lifter unracks the bar with their elbows fully extended, at which they're then going to lower the bar to their chest, hold it motionless. The chief referee will then provide you with a press command, at which you will then press the bar back up to full arm's length, hold it there, and then you'll receive the rack command, at which that will then complete the lift.
Now, up right here, folks, is Mr. Brody Thompson. And if you might recognize that name, it's a very famous name. The last name is Thompson, related to the Jen Thompson, arguably one of the goats, all-time goats of the bench press. And not only is son number 1 competing, but her other son, Tucker, is also competing, as well as her husband, Donovan, who also competed last night in our equipped bench-only division. Truly a family affair. And a little note that we're getting from backstage here, was talking to Jen just a little bit before this session here. She is technically the strongest in her family in terms of the bench press, and with this competition here, she's really trying to maintain that title here, but her sons are very strong, as is her husband. So it's going to be a very tall order, but either way, it's going to be a fun competition. Coming up now, Mr. Jack Rubio. He's going to take 253 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking at the bottom of the screen here, you're going to see 3 lights come up after Mr. Rubio's lift here. That's going to indicate whether it was a good or bad lift. Or a good lift or no lift, excuse me. So in this case, it is going to be a good lift. 2 white lights to 1.
And again, in powerlifting, it is majority rules. So in the previous bench you guys just saw, he received 2 white lights, which is a good lift. In the instance where a lifter receives 2 red lights and 1 white light, that'll be a no lift. And then alongside the white lights or red lights, you'll see a color card at the bottom of the light, which indicates what infraction that light was attributed to.
Yeah, and we have 3 different color cards to notify here when we look at the bottom of the screen. So Mr. Rubio's previous attempt was a red light with a yellow card. And well, actually, the yellow card's kind of the more interesting one to explain. So we'll go top down from easiest to hardest here. So if you see a red light with a red square underneath it, that would indicate that the bar did not make full contact with the chest. You don't really see that too often with raw powerlifting, but you do see that with equipped lifting. Coming up, after the red lights with the red box underneath, you're going to get the blue cards. And that indicates up and downward motion with the bar. So as the bar is coming up off the chest, it must maintain a steady path up, and your elbows must be fully locked. Going into the yellow cards, our co-host Adriana likes to use the term it's a catch-all. So every other rule or infraction you can think of with the bench press here. We'll pause for Mr. Braden Wood. Very nice opener there, 275. And he's a teen 1 lifter. So he's 14, 15 years old, benching 275. It took me a lot later than 14, 15 to get that high.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just got word that Jack Rubio, our previous bencher, his good lift attempt got overruled by our jury over to a no lift. So he will be retaking 115 kilos for his second attempt. Up next, we have Tucker Thompson, family of Jennifer Thompson, who earlier this session, during session 1, bench pressed 142.5 kilos, which is 314 pounds.
She made an awesome crack at the world record there at 323. But here's son number 2, Tucker Thompson, 281 pounds for an opening bench attempt. And he is only a junior level lifter. There's the rest of the family there, joined by Midland head coach and bench press pro, Tim Anderson of Midland Powerlifting. Coming up next, Mr. Thomas Hubscher. I again apologize if I am mispronouncing that, but 286 pounds for the Masters 2 lifter. So Masters 2 is between the ages of 50 and 59, and he is in the 90 kilo weight class. We see Thomas getting set up under that bar there, and he's electing to go for a little bit of a wider grip, actually kind of a closer grip, actually. His hands are both inside that smooth knurling. Can you talk a little bit about like what the different grips are and what effect that could play?
Absolutely. So lifters can obviously elect any range of grip widths so long as they stay within the 81 centimeter marks or the rings of the bar. Their index fingers cannot exceed gripping beyond that range. And a closer grip enables you to utilize your triceps a lot more than your chest, while your lifters who opt for a really wide grip or within those marks are using more of their chest and also shortening the range of motion depending on the style of lifting and the overall technique that the lifters opt to use.
Here we've got the third Thompson of the flight, Mr. Donovan Thompson, otherwise known as Jennifer Thompson's husband. Very easy opener there at 286.
Donovan also competed in our equipped bench press session yesterday.
Coming up next is, got caught by the technical controller there, Mr. Tony Lee, Sr. Fortunately, Mr. Gabriel Braun tried to come on the stage with a hat that is not allowed, unfortunately. I appreciate the attempt at adding a little flair to the platform. Speaking about Tony Lee here, and Tony Lee is a decades-long national level referee, world level referee. And this is bench press nationals, and oftentimes world records are attempted and even broken at this meet, so we have to have referees of that caliber. Jan Dorio actually made the point we have to have 6 world-class referees in order to adjudicate world record attempts, and then everyone else is a minimum of a national level referee, Kevin, yourself included, having been the technical controller for the last session as well as working 2 of the 3 sessions yesterday.
Up next, we have Dennis Alba competing in the Masters 3 division, ages 60 to 69 years old. He's opening up with 150 kilos, just shy of twice his body weight.
And that let's talk about this again, folks. He's a raw Masters 3 lifter. So you mentioned between the ages of 60 and 69. And this is 330 pounds for an opener. Now, I bench this now at the ripe young age of 26 years old. I can only hope to be benching somewhere close to this whenever I'm even close to that age. Just goes to show you're never too young, you're never too old to start powerlifting. We even saw that with our youth lifters yesterday, which was really fun.
Again, it just goes to show how powerlifting can be a sport for everybody, all ages, all sizes. We had a lifter in our earlier session compete in their 80s, and then in yesterday's sessions in our youth divisions, we had a lifter compete who was 8.
And we had one of our lifters in our bench press session later on that day, who was one of our adaptive athletes, which for those of you listening at home, our adaptive athletes are just lifters that require extra accommodations due to a disability or their situation that requires them to need that extra equipment. But we still want them to compete. There is still a place for them to compete. And right, so if you're looking at the bottom of the clock here, we are counting down. So shout out Barbell Productions for giving us our shot clock here. Now, Kevin, can you tell us a little bit about what just happened? What happened just now?
When lifters are, so lifters get a timer in essence to start their lift. When the bar is called loaded, they get a 60-second timer, and that essentially states that's the time in which they can step on the platform and receive the first start command and start their lift. In the instance for Jeffrey, he timed out, so he did not come out to take his attempt and exhausted his full minute, at which then the next bar will be loaded for the next lifter. Right now we have Peter Melendez, and so once that timer expires, your attempt is over, and you will then move on to second round bench once that rolls around.
And now let's say a lifter doesn't come out for their bench press, or let's say we're expecting a lifter to scratch a lift. Are we can we just go right back into the next lifter, or do we have to wait? What's the situation there?
When the bar is when their lifter time expires, then the next lifter's weight is going to be loaded, and then that timer is going to start for the next lifter. For the lifter in the instance of Jeffrey, he's going to wait until the very next round until he can have an opportunity to go again.
All right, here's Mr. Christopher Rose. Bar is loaded for him. Rack is set up. Had to get that last face saver locked in. It's going to be opening at 374 pounds. So if you're lifting in a non-commercial gym, so more powerlifting, strongman, that sort of thing specific, this is 3 reds on the bar. 3 reds. This is most people, especially starting out in powerlifting within their first couple years, this is close to their top end strength on even squat or deadlift. So Chris Rose opening his bench press attempts with this. He did get a re-rack here.
In the case for Jeffrey, he got a replace command, which means that he was not in an adequate starting position to initiate the lift. We have 3 referees who are ensuring that lifters are in the appropriate position, meaning that they have their butt in contact with the bench, feet flat on the ground, elbows locked out, and all of the above. In the instance for Christopher, maybe one of those weren't satisfied, so he had a replace command. He got a start command.
I wonder if it was likely his elbows. That's one of the more common things.
He's able to press it out.
You can tell on his on-rack, too, he's a little bit shaky, and so getting that full lockout is a little bit tougher for those folks, but he's able to come away well within the time limit. 2-1, it is a good lift. Up next is Andrew Chapman. He and Mr. Hakeem coming after him are going to be retaking the same exact weight. So all three of our lifters are going to be taking 374.
Andrew's also lifting in the junior division, which is 20 to 23 years of age.
Getting a nice unrack there from the back spotter.
Very long range of motion for Andrew.
We were talking about in the previous session how lifters that don't necessarily have like a super complex bench setup, right? They don't have a super high arch. They don't do a whole bunch of cues and set up things. For folks that just kind of lay down, pick up the bar and press it, those are arguably some of the more impressive bench presses because they don't, they normally have their full range of motion. They've got a lot longer to go.
Hakeem also going up to 170 kilos. He is also in the junior division at 22 years of age.
Representing Gamecock Powerlifting out of Columbia, South Carolina.
We are now back at the top of the order. We're now starting our second attempts on bench press with Eugene Weiss.
And Eugene Weiss, if you all remember his wife, again with the world record hat trick 3 for 3. Also a Masters 5 lifter, so between the ages of 80 and 89. Both Eugene and his wife Helene are the only Masters 5 lifters of the entire competition. Exactly what you were saying earlier, Kevin. You are never too old, you're never too young. Powerlifting is a place for everyone. Strong lockout there off the
Eugene
chest.
at 84 years young, making great work with 75 kilos, 3 white lights.
Up next, Sean Patterson, one of our Team 2 lifters, one of our only Team 2 lifters, if not the only Team 2 lifter in this entire session, if I'm not mistaken. Disregard that. We've got a couple more. Here's Sean Patterson, 187 pounds. So commercial gym language, that's a plate and a 25. And for the ripe young age of 16, 17 years old to be able to move 187, he's got a strong career ahead of him. And a lot of these Team 1, Team 2, even some of our Team 3 lifters, they're in high school. Oftentimes they're doing other sports. And powerlifting is just another outlet for them to be able to train better for their sports. Oftentimes there's wrestlers, track and field athletes, swimmers, football players that make it into the sport and see great strides. Here's Mr. Sherman, 225 pounds. Handler very intent there watching, but unfortunately Sherman makes it a bit of a touch and go bench there, and I think he knew it as soon as he pressed it.
So again, lifters are to hold the bar motionless on the chest, wait for the chief referee's press command, at which they will then press out the bar back to full extension of the arms.
Coming up next here is Mr. Jack Rubio. He's going to be retaking 253 pounds. He did have his opening lift overturned. I do remember the replay there. He kind of hit the rack a little bit with the plate, and at the same time it was hitting the rack, it was hitting his chest, and there's a lot of things going on there. So it did get overturned. It was a no lift, but let's see if we can redeem. He was able to press it up, so finishing the lift should be no problem here.
That's more like it.
Clean. Bit of a delayed start command there. I was most likely for his elbows there. Important for folks to note at home, you do not have to have your head in contact with the bench. That was a rule change within the past couple years, and we find that has a lot a bit more functionality with equipped powerlifting, as you know, they almost have to watch and see where that bar gets to the chest.
Here
For
we
raw power, oh, go ahead.
Here we have Broden Thompson, son of Jennifer Thompson.
I don't know who's older, Brody or Tucker.
Tucker
is. He's a junior. Clean 275 attempt there.
Picks up 12.5 kilos.
Up next, we've got our first of likely many state record attempts here from Mr. Braden Wood. He's going to be taking 286 pounds. And Braden is a teen 1 powerlifter, so he is at the ripe young age of 14, or between the ages of 14 and 15 years old. So young lad going for 286 pounds, a state record attempt on the national stage. And that's a clean press all the way through. Again, not a super technical bench here, not a super high arch or anything like that. So a bit of a longer range of motion, but we're able to find a solid lockout here. Up next is Mr. Tucker Thompson. Thompson, number 2. Rocking one of my favorite A7 colorways. Shout out A7, one of our presenting sponsors. Now Tucker Thompson, a lot of the powerlifters, especially in today's sessions, are competing in more than one competition, or are involved in some way, shape, or form with another session or so. We heard from Gino across the mic here that Tucker Thompson's actually being handled not only by his brother and his father Donovan, but by Will Garcia, who actually competed not only in the session prior, but the last session last night. So he's been in this meet for at least 3 sessions in a row. A lot of people in the powerlifting realm, including Kevin and myself, wear very, very many hats within this sport, and there's so much opportunity to do so within this sport. You talk about the opportunity for folks to become referees. We're always in need of referees. You've got folks to volunteer to spot and load. It really does take a full community effort. It takes a village, as Bryce would say, Bryce Lewis, our technical guru for this meet.
That's 3 white lights for Thomas.
And Donovan Thompson going to come behind and take the same weight. So that's 308 pounds.
Donovan taking a 10-kilo jump.
Now Donovan, unfortunately, only getting 1 attempt last night for the equipped session. We saw some pretty big jumps, which missing those lifts, especially with equipped bench, does happen a lot more often. But we're looking to go 2 for 2 here. This is 308 pounds. That's a very clean bench.
For those of you looking at the live scoring over on LiftingCast, you can see that there are several individuals who are registered in more than one division. For instance, we just saw in Donovan Thompson's case, he is registered in the Raw Masters 2 division and the Raw Men's Open Bench Press division. What this means is lifters who fall under not only the open category, but a age division, which can be teen, junior, master, they can register for both divisions and place in both divisions. So if they are competing in the Masters division, they can compete alongside open competitors as well.
And it's interesting to bring up, the differences between, or not the differences necessarily, but the opportunity to register for more than one weight class or age division. Now, let's say one of our lifters were to go for an American record or a world record. Can you talk a little bit about how that plays in to kind of those age divisions?
Absolutely. So let's say we have a teen competitor who is also competing in the open division. If the teen competitor is breaking a teen American record, they can absolutely do so while competing alongside the open. They just won't be able to chip any teen records while competing in open. We haven't had that case happen here yet, but it has happened in previous sessions where lifters will have the ability to chip age division records, but won't be able to because they're also registered in the open category. So that just makes it a fair playing field for all of those competing in the open division.
And for those of you at home that are a little less hip on the powerlifting lingo here, chipping only means adding the minimum amount required on the bar in order to break that record, and that being 0.5 kilos. Okay, so let's say any of our lifters today were to go for an American or a world record, they would be able to chip it if they were in the open, but if they were going for a Masters world record or another age division record, they would not be able then to chip that. They would have to go the 2.5 kilo jump there.
And
Gabriel
unfortunately,
Braun.
that's a no lift for Gabriel.
He kind of had a very long sticking point right towards the middle there, and he held it for a while. Oh, okay, so we saw the butt start to come up there. And now he is using bench blocks. I wonder if that might have any sort of play into his hips rising off of the bench there. Up next, Mr. Dennis Alba, Masters 3. 160 kilos, so 352 pounds. Nice little burst of energy towards that lockout there. 3 white lights. I want to give a quick shout out to our spotters and loaders. They have been rock solid all weekend, courtesy of Blue Mountain College in Mississippi. They brought a solid team across the weekend, so we will have fresh bodies, which means fast sessions each and every time. All right, Peter Melendez getting set up now under 363 pounds. All right, so we saw Peter got that replace command as well. So that means we did not have elbows fully locked out, or maybe there was another issue there where the side referees weren't able to bring their hands down. We are coming short on the clock here, so he needs to get that start command soon. Unfortunately, it's going to be a timeout. It is going to be a timeout. He will not have time. Well, maybe 3, 2, 1. He did get the start command with all but 0.5 seconds left. Oh, and it's not going to go.
Unfortunately, just having to replace the bar twice might have taxed him for his second attempt, but he will have one more opportunity on his third attempt bench to be able to hit that lift, but it's just one of those cases where having to replace the bar multiple times, more than one time, might have zapped him on energy.
We do have one more attempt, though, for Peter Melendez, so let's hope he's able to savor some energy back. It was only a 5 kilo jump from his opener. However, like you said, those unracks and re-racks definitely took a lot out of him there. He is going to get a relift, it seems. So he is placed at the bottom of the lifting cast there. Here's Mr. Hakeem representing Gamecock Powerlifting. And I don't know about you, Kevin, but that's just a pretty sight to see. Just 3 reds and a collar on the bar. Not only that, but to move it as well as Hakeem did. Very, very clean attempt there.
Absolutely, and we have some very interesting developments here over in the 82.5 kilo weight class. We have Christopher Rose and Andrew Chapman, both attempting the same weight at 180 kilos following each other, both looking to get that top spot in the 82.5 kilo men's raw open bench press.
Yep, so at the moment, Christopher, with this attempt, should it be successful, will place him in first. And then Andrew Chapman coming behind is going to be inching his way up through the pounds because his next attempt, if successful, will only put him in second. So it's going to be interesting to see what those attempt changes will look like when we get there. Here's Chris Rose. Very, very fast there.
So now Andrew Chapman has an opportunity to gain the lead now that Christopher Rose missed his second attempt bench.
Yep, and so Chris Rose, he is still sitting in second. Should Andrew Chapman hit this, it will put him into third, placing Andrew Chapman into the second place position. And we've got some interesting developments here. Again, this is a very interesting session we're seeing. But Gabriel Braun, who did miss his 155 kilo attempt, he got the replace command, and it looked as though the side referee saw that his heels weren't fully in contact with the floor. And turns out, great press out by Andrew Chapman there. 2-1. As it turns out, that's just the way his shoes looked. So he is going to be able to retake that lift again. And it looks like we have another relift here. Peter Melendez, 165 kilos. All right, here we go. Peter Melendez. And I did mistake the name earlier. This is not Gabriel, or Gabriel did not have that shoe issue. It was Peter with the shoe issue. But we find our way to lockout. So it wasn't the arms. It was actually the heels there for Peter. And he's on the board, ladies and gents. He does get that relift. And now, ladies and gents, we're getting into our third attempts here. And interesting to note for you folks at home, if you're used to watching powerlifting and it's a full power meet, so you've got the squat, the bench, and the deadlift, you notice that you're only able to change attempts or anything like that on the very last deadlift. Well, since this is a bench-only session, lifters that are trying to press for any sort of placings or anything like that are able to change their third bench attempts. So we might see that, as Kevin alluded to earlier, in the 82.5 class. Mr. Eugene Weiss, 176 pounds attempted by Mr. Eugene Weiss. Safe to say his wife Helene gets to go home and say she did just a smidge better, but Eugene, with a phenomenal showing, able to come away with 75 kilos. One of two Masters 5 lifters in the entire competition. And there she is, Miss Helene. You see, she got a whole standing ovation, a hug, a shout out from Gino. I wonder if that'll be some bragging rights heading home tonight. Here's Sean Patterson. Here's Sean Patterson, 198 pounds. Now, he may be able to press this out fully, but he even noticed it. A little bit of a grin on the way up. There's a lot of things happening there with that one. Likely his hips came up. A lot of up and down motion.
Up next, we have Sherman, who will be attempting 109 kilos, and this is one of those cases where Sherman is attempting a Masters 4 American record. So he is taking a chip, which is essentially an increment less than 2.5 kilos. He's opted to lift 109 kilos, which is 240 pounds. Now, as we alluded earlier with the referees, all the referees on the platform are national level referees or higher. So because this is a national level meet, all national records for any division can be attempted here. That was a great attempt by Sherman.
Up next here is Mr. Jack Rubio. Looking to maintain the momentum. He did miss that opening attempt, but came back for his second and is electing to go up 10 kilos, so 22-ish pounds going into his third attempt here. He is one of our Masters 3 lifters, so between the ages of 60 and 69. Currently sitting in second place behind Mr. Dennis Alba in the 82.5 kilo Masters 3 class. But here's 275. Jack gets a first shot. Very clean across the board there. Looked just as easy as his second attempt, and we're not mad at seeing that. We would much rather see that there's weight left on the bar for the bench rather than loading a weight that is likely going to be missed. So glad we could see Jack Rubio finish strong with that 125. Up next is Thompson number 1, Brody Thompson. He's taking 286 pounds. The first of the, technically the second of the Thompsons to register a bench total today. Not sure I expected much else there. Brady Thompson, it's going to be 2-1, no lift. The press out was clean enough, but there must have been something technical there. I wonder if it was heels or butt. Let's
look at the replay.
Up next here is Braden Wood, 135. We're talking 297 pounds.
Braden, I believe, broke a state record on his second attempt. This would also be besting his state record by 5 kilos. He is from Illinois.
Team 1 lifter, ladies and gents. 14, 15 years old, benching almost 300 pounds. And you want to talk about patience. Patience under the bar. That is consistent training.
Perfect call. 2-1 lights. How close can you get to that?
All right, up next is Thompson number 2, or 3 technically. He's going to be going for 314.16 pounds, which, if you're in a commercial gym, that is the elusive 3-plate bench.
Now, this is actually matching what Jennifer Thompson did earlier in the earlier session, 142.5 kilos, 314 pounds.
I don't know, it might be a goal of mine to bench more than my mom. That being said, my mom isn't a almost 40-time world champion and national champion. Here's Tucker. That's going to be a no lift. Jen Thompson still gets a little bit of bragging rights over both Tucker and Brody, but both of them had phenomenal shows, both getting 2 for 3 on their lifts today. Tucker currently placed 3rd in the junior division and 6th in the open division. And remember, when we're talking about open, that is regardless of age division, everybody in your weight class. And there's just a few 82.5s throughout this particular flight. So Tucker Thompson placing well within the pack. Here's Mr. Thomas. Electing to go for a little bit more of a sink there. A very clean 319-pound bench. It's going to be a good lift. Watch it one more time. One of the more textbook third attempts, I'd say.
As we start looking at some of the placings and current standings in the 82.5 men's raw open bench press, we have Andrew Chapman currently leading the pack at 180 kilos, Hakeem at 175, and Christopher Rose at 170. So really tight spread between the podium.
All right, here's Thompson, number 4, the final Thompson, Mr. Donovan, going for 319 pounds, being handled by bench press pro Tim Anderson of Midland Powerlifting. And that is going to be a no lift for Jen Thompson's husband. Here's Gabriel Braun up next, 341 pounds. And Gabriel is one of our Masters 3 lifters, so between the ages of 60 and 69. Benching close to 350. I just hope to be benching at all by the time I'm between that age. Start command here. Again, not one of our very technical benchers, so a very long way up. That's going to be a tough go. Jeff Wilson lying in the wings here. He's going to be taking the same weight, 341 pounds in the Masters 3 class. Currently ahead of Gabriel, even with this attempt. And that is because Jeffrey weighed just a little bit lighter than Gabriel did. So weight class, or what you weigh in as does play a role into how you place. So even though they both are attempting the same weight, even if Jeffrey were to miss this weight and they both were to get 150, Jeffrey would win because he weighed in 0.4 kilos underweight.
But that won't be an issue as Jeffrey locks out 155 kilos and lift is good. 3 white lights.
Look at that celebration there. See it one more time. A little bit shaky on the unrack here. Clean all the way through.
I believe we see here on the screen that Gabriel is getting a relift. He has been moved to the bottom of the round, so he'll be reattempting 155 kilos.
Up next is Dennis Alba. And folks, you're seeing a very interesting number on the screen here, 161.5. So that means he is attempting an American record. The Masters 3 82.5 kilo weight class. And this is well over twice his body weight here, having weighed in at around 180 pounds. Can he find his way? Unfortunately, no. We saw the hips start rising there and started to lose a little bit of our attention. Excellent show either way from Dennis Alba. Peter Melendez up next, going for 170 kilos. Now I'm going to be very interested to see how this moves. He did get 2 different replace commands on that first attempt. So he did get a relift for the second attempt. It did not move extremely super fast. So we'll see how a 10 kilo jump goes for Peter. You can see there, he does have a little bit of a kind of a black stripe underneath his heels there, so it can be a little elusive to the judges there for a definite heel placement, but rest assured they are there. Peter gets the start. Oh, it's not going to go, unfortunately. Peter signals to the spotters to grab it. After a pretty tumultuous run of bench press there, Peter is still able to come away with that 165 kilo class, a 165 kilo bench press. Looks like our 82.5 open bench press is starting to shape up just a little bit more here. So Chris Rose electing to retake 180, so this will solidify him in third place. But let's keep a close eye on Hakeem and Andrew. We may see a temp change or two from Hakeem to try and put him ahead of Andrew for that first place spot.
If Christopher hits this bench and the next two lifters miss, Chris will actually be in first place.
Unfortunately, that's going to be a no lift for Chris, so he is going to come away with that 170 kilo bench. So this does solidify him in the third place spot. So now Hakeem
looking to press himself provisionally into first place, although we still have Andrew Chapman to go.
Here we go. And Hakeem's had a strong showing of bench all the way through. And this is a little bit of a bigger jump from first to second. But second to third, 7.5 kilos proves no issue for Hakeem, so he is in provisional first place. But we still have Andrew Chapman for an answer. Currently Hakeem ahead by 2.5 kilos. So Andrew would need to put in 180. He would need to put in 190, in fact, to actually pull ahead of Hakeem. All right, here's Andrew Chapman, 407 pounds, no less.
He's looking to move himself from second to first place, putting himself over for Hakeem.
So with this, Andrew Chapman will be your, unfortunately not, he will remain in the second place position, your silver medalist for the men's open 82.5 kilo weight class bench press national championships. He will sit in second place, so that means Hakeem, with his successful attempt at 182.5 kilos, maintains his 2.5 kilo lead, so he will be your gold medal winner. And then we've got Gabriel Braun, who at the very end here has a relift at 155. Here he is. Here is 341 pounds. So right now he is slated for second place for the Masters 390 kilo weight class, behind Mr. Jeff Wilson. And again, even if he hits this, Jeff Wilson will win on body weight. So let's see what happens here. Gabriel Braun. Oh, can he finish? Can he finish? Can he finish? It looks like he's going to be able to lock it out. Did we maintain our points of contact here? It's going to be a no lift, and looks like he motioned to his leg there. Might have caught a pretty bad cramp, looks like, on the way up there, but excellent run there.
And that'll take us straight into Flight B. We have Gary coming up next with 117.5 kilos. We are now moving into our 90 and 100 kilo divisions.
All right, here's Gary Villeneuve. 259 pounds, bars loaded. He's one of our Masters 4 lifters, so between the ages of 70 and 79, going for 259 pounds. And folks, this is going to be a pretty solid bench flight. We've got some excellent competition in the 90s and the 100s today. It's going to be a no lift for Gary, though. Unfortunately, looked like a bit of a misgroove coming off the chest there. Hopefully he's able to regroup for that second one. Coming up next is Harold Belrive. Again, if I'm pronouncing that name wrong, I do apologize. Masters 4 lifter. Again, between the ages of 70 and 79. He is going for 297 pounds. Clock is ticking, bar is loaded. So it looks as though, let's see here. Oh, so we've restarted the clock. It's possible that the rack height was wrong. Looks like the spotters and loaders are making that adjustment there. And looks like we're also going to put the blocks down. Clock is still ticking, though. We've got 40 seconds. And bar is called loaded for Mr. Harold. Here he is. Here we go. This is 297 pounds. Yeah, it looked like that clock got reset there. It looked like the rack height was wrong, and upon coming out, he wanted those blocks down, but still got a lot of time. Bar is unracked. He gets that start command, so he's well in time. Very smooth off the chest. It's going to be a good lift.
Up next, we have Howard, who will be attempting 142.5 kilos. Both Harold and Howard are in our Masters 4 division. They're both aged 70 to 79 years of age.
Now we're seeing some shifts with the referees here. What do you think that says? Looks like we've got ourselves a world record, ladies and gents. Mr. Howard Aaron, 315 pounds for an opening attempt. So if he hits this, we know that the next few attempts will be breaking that same record.
Bit of a close battle here in our Masters 4 90-kilo division. Howard and Harold only spread by 7.5 kilos.
Smooth bench attempt there. I would say a hair slow for what we would want to see for a general opening attempt. However, that is a world record. So that's one notch in the belt for Howard Aaron. I wonder if we'll see another hat trick, 3 for 3 world records. Up next is Daniel Min. This is 325 pounds bars loaded here for Daniel Min. A little bit shaky on the unrack there, but everything looks to be in play there. He gets that start command. And that's going to be a good lift. Now, he's a Teen 2 lifter. So, young lad, 16, 17 years old. Again, quick shout out here to the spotters and loaders from Blue Mountain College in Mississippi. They got that bar unloaded and reloaded awful quick. Here's John Jenkins taking 330.
Bars loaded for John.
John Jenkins in our Masters 3 class. Electing to go with a self lift-off here. So what are the advantages, disadvantages of maybe going self lift-off versus getting someone to take the bar out for you?
A lot of the times, if lifters are opting to receive assistance from the spotter to get a lift off, they want some support, some assistance getting that bar removed from the rack that expends less energy and allows the lifter to save up that energy and put it towards the lift itself. a lot of the times, or oftentimes, lifters who elect to get a self-lift off without the assistance of a spotter might want consistency. They might train at home. They might not want somebody to have an external factor or force or add another variable into their lift. They want to leave it all in their own hands. It ultimately comes down to preference of the lifter, and that help is always there in case they need it.
Excellent opener there, 341 pounds, excuse me. They took the collar off super quick, so I just saw 2 reds and a yellow there. Here's Alec Chen, followed by Monty Murphy, Austin Covington, and then Joseph Smith. Both Alec and Monty going to be attempting the same weight here. Alec, the head coach of Blueprint Powerlifting. Our co-host for yesterday, Katie DeGuider, also one of the coaches for Blueprint. She actually competed this morning.
Alec makes easy work at 157.5 kilos, 3 white lights. Monty Murphy up next. Monty is in the Masters 1 division.
And again, Monty's going to be taking that same weight, so not much change on the platform here aside from the rack height. And on LiftingCast, if you're watching here, Monty's last name is in all caps, so I'm going to have to call him Monty Murphy and give a little bit of extra emphasis to his last name here. 347 pounds for Monty Murphy in the Masters 1 class. Folks, if you want to follow along at home, Kevin mentioned it earlier, but we want to remind you all that you are allowed to or able to follow the live action, the attempt changes, forecasted placings, and things like that on liftingcast.com/meets. Go ahead and scroll down to the 2024 USA Powerlifting Bench Nationals Day 2. I want to scroll down just a hair because we've already had one session compete today, so you want to scroll down just a little bit to catch all the action going on at the moment.
Austin Covington is taking 165 kilos, who will be lifting in the junior division, ages 20 to 23 years of age.
All right, here's Austin Covington, again, 363 pounds. Kind of a longer start command there. I think we wanted to be sure the hips were fully in contact with the bench there, but we pressed it out super easily. Austin Covington, it's going to be a good lift, 3 white lights.
Again, the referees are looking for several things when lifters step up to set up on the bar. They're making sure that the elbows are locked. They have all points of contact on the bench, meaning that their shoulders, upper back is in contact with the bench, including their butt, and feet need to remain flat on the ground throughout the entirety of the lift.
And folks, now we're getting towards the end of the flight here, the end of our openers before we head on to our second attempts. And we're going to see some pretty heavy weights loaded up on the bar here, folks. Joseph Smith's going to start us off. We're at 363 already for the openers. That's another clean thing to see on the bar. Just 2 reds, a blue, and a collar. Interesting there. It looked like it was a lot more grindy than it was supposed to be. I wonder if there was any sort of misgroove there. Let's check the shoulders. Oh, yeah, so we saw the shoulders kind of flare out a little bit, which then leads to the elbow flare. Not something you want to do on your opener attempt. What would you do for a call here?
Again, really, I would take the minimum increment, just go up another 2.5 kilos. You don't want to risk another miss, or you don't want to risk going 1 for 3 on bench. You want to set yourself up to be able to hit, or be able to hit a third attempt. So taking that minimum jump, just figuring out what might have went wrong with the opening bench might be the safe bet.
We're watching the live lifting cast here, so we're waiting to see what he puts in for that attempt. While we do that, we've got Mr. Chad Carker on the board here, 182.5 kilos. That's 402 pounds, folks. We have broken the 400-pound mark on openers. It's a very clean attempt there, a lot smoother. All right, here's Mr. Derek Anderson, 185 pounds, 185 kilos, excuse me, so 407 pounds. Bar is loaded. And now he is in the 100 kilo weight class, so a body weight of about 220 or below. Looks like he weighed in just under that. And this is a 400-pound bench. So this is darn near double body weight. And when you think about the bench press and you get to the lighter weight folks, or especially the middle weights, it's generally a little bit easier to get closer to that 2 times, 3 times body weight bench, especially if you're equipped as well. But the heavier you are in body weight, the harder it is to get to those certain milestones. And Derek Anderson is knocking on the door here, 407. It's going to be a good lift. Now, folks, we've got our 3 strongest benchers of the flight here, arguably 3 of the strongest benchers of the competition. Preston Savoy Jr., Bench Preston.
Now, Preston Savoy, he actually competed in our equipped division earlier, yesterday.
He put up almost 600 pounds. Not far off. He's pressing raw today, 462 pounds. Representing the Ragin' Cajuns of University of Louisiana Lafayette.
Being handled by Cameron Barrio. You can see him on the left-hand side of your screen.
And this is a 220-pound body weight, 462-pound bench.
That's that Louisiana strength.
And I know we were saying, I just said how difficult it is the heavier you are to get to that 2 times body weight bench. Preston Savoy proved me way wrong with that attempt. Let's look at that again. And folks, you're watching these replays. These aren't slow-mo. It's not sped up. This is true speed.
And as a reminder, all of these lifters are lifting raw, meaning that they don't have any supportive equipment. They are lifting in T-shirt, singlet, and if they choose to, they have a pair of wrist wraps on their wrist. And that is it. There is no supportive elastic or stretchy material underneath that singlet. It is just them, just pure raw muscle.
Pure, unadulterated, unfiltered strength. Speaking of Mr. Todd Talford, one of my good buddies, I've actually trained with him a few times, hometown South Carolina, 473 pounds, making it move like that. Now, most of our lifters towards the end here in the 100-kilo weight class. Todd Talford actually in the 90-kilo weight class.
Under 200 pounds, pressing over 400, almost 5.
So we're closing in on the 2.5, almost 3 times body weight realm here. No, maybe not 3 times. That's towards the 600s, but definitely towards the 2.5 range here.
And just shy of 500 pounds, we have Jermaine Lyles up next, attempting 220 kilos. This is 4 reds. And he is also a master's lifter in his 40s.
Close grip as well. Wow. So we saw he hit the J hook there. Now, a lot of things, well, that's a good lift, so safe to say he is still good in the meet. But when you hit the rack, that takes a lot out of you. Have you, I know you've competed a bunch of times. Have you ever hit the rack before?
Yeah. I mean, it really does. It can throw off your game every now and then, but it really, as long as the bar doesn't go down and you can stay with the bar and not panic in those situations, you should be all right.
Yep. And going along, kind of like you said, as long as the bar doesn't go down, we're looking at the whole of the bar, right? We're not just looking at one or two sides, because as you saw on that replay, the bar did dip on that side after it hit the J-hook, but the whole of the apparatus, the whole of the bar did not go down. So continued the press up. It is a good lift. Gary Villeneuve trying to get on the board here. Wow.
Amazing
Very stark
recovery.
contrast from that first attempt.
Yep, we remember on his first attempt, his opening attempt, he I think he barely got it off the chest.
I don't think he did get it off the chest, no, and to be able to blast off like that.
Very amazing recovery for a lifter in his 70s. He's lifting in a Masters 4 division.
What do you think are some of like the things that like goes through a lifter's mind when, you know, let's say they have that opening attempt? I mean, that's a very tough situation. Have an opener not move like that. What are some of the mindset things that like you would tell your lifter going into the next attempt, knowing that probably not a good idea to gain weight or add weight?
Yeah, Gary really made that smart decision by retaking the weight and not wanting to go up in weight. Clearly, because his opening attempt didn't go off the chest, he retook it the same way and clearly made easy work out of it on his second attempt.
Here's Harold Bill Reeve. 314 pounds, Masters 4 lifter. Wow. Three plates, 3 white lights. Harold Bell Reeve with an excellent attempt there. He's currently in first place, but Howard Aaron is looking to take that right back. This will place him in first provisionally. 2.5 kilo jump from his second, and this is a world record attempt.
As we remember, Howard broke the world record on his opener at 142.5 kilos. Harold matched that world record in the second attempt, and Howard is looking to extend that record.
Giving daps to all the spotters. Again, he's Masters 4, 70, 79 years old. Stronger than most 25, 26-year-olds. A little bit of soft elbows there on the start, but he did get that command. Dip down again. It's not going to be able to find his way. Solid attempt there for Howard. Now he does get to come back in and take that for his third attempt. One thing we haven't seen really throughout all of the competition is a scratched attempt. What's a scratch attempt?
So a scratched attempt will be an attempt, an instance where a lifter will opt to not go out to the platform and take an attempt. As we see here in Joseph Smith's situation, he has placed a 0 for his bench second attempt, meaning that he will not come out to lift for his second or third attempt. He will just be sticking with his bench press opener at 165 kilos.
And that can be for any number of reasons. You know, maybe let's say he's competing tomorrow, Joseph Smith is, and he wants to conserve some of that energy. Maybe that first opener attempt he didn't feel all that great. Maybe there was a tweak or two in there. And at the end of the day, we do want our lifters to stay safe. And if you're looking at LiftingCast now, it does look like he is done for today. At least for this session here, he did put a 0 for his third attempt as well. But we do hope he's doing okay. He does finish out with 1 solid bench, so he does get to place at Bench Nationals. Daniel Min with a 3 white light attempt, 336 pounds.
As a reminder, Daniel is a Team 2 lifter. He's aged 16 to 17. But now we're working our way back up to John Jenkins, who is Masters 3, 60 to 69, taking 160 kilos, 352 pounds as a second attempt. John weighing in at 96 kilos.
Peeking over in the bottom left corner there, we see technical controller or technical chair Jan Dario just hanging out on the podium. John Jenkins presses out. That's going to be a good lift. Alex Chen coming up next, 165 pounds. Gosh, I keep doing that. 165 kilos, 363 pounds. Alex Chen of Blueprint Powerlifting.
Alex Chen, a Blueprint strength coach.
And now he is in our 100 kilo weight class, and that is probably that is half of the flight, right? We've got a pretty long flight here, Flight E. So he does have a very stacked competition, especially as we get towards the later bit of the flight here. But Alex Chen, 363 pounds, and that's going to be a good lift, so he will carry on. And interesting to see, too, and we've seen it happen on many stages, both national as well as even on the world stages. We've seen folks come from third, fourth, even as low as fifth, come all the way up to be able to place within that top three or even win that weight class due to attempt changes, lifters missing lifts. And so we never truly know what will happen here. Alex Chen may very well still have a shot at the top 5. Coming up next is Monty Murphy, 363 pounds as well. But he's in the 90 kilo weight class.
Makes great work out of 165 kilos.
Up next is Pat Birkeland, 170 kilos, 374 pounds. Sneak peek of Dana Bloomfield, one of our national referees in the corner there. We've also got Adriana Davis as our other side judge. And Jim Battenfield as our head ref for this session.
Pat inching close to 2 times bodyweight bench as a Masters 1 lifter.
Currently sitting in second place for both divisions. Ooh. So, I believe we might want to raise that rack height just a hair. And that's going to be a no lift for what I would imagine is going to be downward motion. Let's see the replay here. And we've got a good front view of the whole bar.
I believe he got a blue card from the chief referee for downward motion and possibly a yellow on the side for, would it be a command?
I would say so. It did look like he started to fade back with that left arm towards the rack there before he did get that official rack command. So unfortunately, it's going to be 2 red lights for 2 different reasons. He does get to come back and attempt that for his third. Austin Covington up next with 175.
And that just goes to show the level of technicality that you're being held to at the national level. The variety of things that these referees are looking for.
We see Adriana in the corner there, hyper-focused on Austin Covington's attempt here. 385. Bobbles off the chest, not able to find his way up here. And it looked fairly technically sound, so it looked more like it was on strength there. So hopefully, like we saw earlier in the flight, we might see a little bit of motivation, a little bit of chutzpah out of Austin Covington for that third attempt to be able to come back. 418.88 pounds for Derek Anderson, Masters 2.
We have crossed the 400-pound mark for all of our bench presses, all of our remaining bench presses.
And again, Derek Anderson in our Masters 2 age division, the 100 kilo weight class, gets the unrack here. Oh, wow.
Great bench. Gets 3 white lights.
Stone cold muscle, that is. Let's watch that back. Not one of our super technical benchers, not a super high arch. Fairly close grip here. Clean all the way through. We are going up 2.5 kilos for Chad Carker. About 424.5 pounds for Chad's second attempt here in the 100 kilo weight class. Currently sitting in third among a very, very stacked 100 kilo class here, but he's still got Jermaine and Preston lying in the wings. We'll see what he does here.
And Chad weighed in as a very light 100 kilo lifter, only weighing in at 92.7. Definitely the lightest in the pack there.
Shoot, if he had the opportunity for another maybe 3 or 4 weeks of a cut, he might be up there with Todd Talford, Pat Birkeland, Monty Murphy. Speaking of Todd Talford, here he is, handled by Jeff Snyder, who also competed yesterday in the equipped bench competition. Todd went up 5 kilos to 485 pounds. I've actually been in the gym when Todd's hit this weight. It is pretty nutty watching it in person, and he's just the sweetest guy. Loves powerlifting, very good friend of the Thompsons, so, you know, birds of a feather fly together, some bench press specialists. They know what they're doing. Wow.
Todd, again, one of those lifters that doesn't have an incredibly high arch or very wide grip, just pure raw strength. Amazing bench by Todd. 3 white lights. Up next, we have Jermaine Lyles, who is just shy of 500 pounds. He is benching 496 as a 98 kilo lifter. He is also a Masters 1 lifter.
Folks, this is almost 500 pounds, and we're not even on our 3rd attempts yet. Jermaine Lyles, 49 years old. And he finds his way through. A little bit shaky, a little bit of a teeter-totter on the way up, but it looked like the hull of the bar remained in one solid motion. 3 white lights for Jermaine Lyles. Up next, Preston Savoy Jr. Let's get a good view here.
Jermaine in that tight race with Preston for that bench press gold medal in the men's raw open 100 kilo division. We have our first 500-pound raw bench of the day. Preston Savoy.
Preston Savoy. We are seeing 4 red plates on the bar, so that means we are over the 500-pound mark, and per USAPL regulations, 5 spotters are required for any barbell lift, squat or bench that is over 500 pounds. So we have the full spotting team here for Preston Savoy, which makes it just a little bit harder for our referees to get that solid view. It's a way to press out there, Preston.
Very fast off the chest, and he fights through that sticking point around the mid-range.
Really packing the neck there, pressing all of his force into the bench.
Now, I believe Preston will also be lifting tomorrow in our equipped division. So he competed earlier yesterday in the men's equipped bench only. He's competing today in the men's raw bench only, and he'll be competing tomorrow in our equipped full power.
120 kilos, 264 pounds. Imagine competing 3 days in a row. I know there's a lot of other sports that do that. Many sports do 3 days in a row. But for powerlifting, where it truly does
take everything out of you.
It really does, like all maximal efforts 3 times in a row.
Way to come back, Gary. After having missed his bench press opener, he secures a second and a third bench press, ending at 120 kilos. Amazing work.
He will be our third place finisher for the Masters 4 class, the 90 kilo division, or Masters 4 division 90 kilo class. Now we've got Mr. Harold Bellerive, who with this attempt will be in first place. If I'm not mistaken, his second attempt was a world record at 142.5. So with this being 2.5 above, it should still break his own world record. All right, so 145 kilos. That is going to be the new bench press record, new bench press world record. Howard Aaron looking to retake 145 there. Now this will take that world record, or this will match that world record that Harold just hit. However, Harold does have body weight advantage and does have a higher lot number. Here's Howard Aaron. Let's see if he can get this record back here. Oh, he finds his way. Oh, but it dips back down, unfortunately.
So in our men's Raw Masters 4 division, we have Harold taking the win at 145 kilos.
We've got our jury there. Jack Marcus, BJ Foss. Daniel Min, 157.5 kilos, 347 pounds. Daniel Min, very soft touch there at the chest, but definitive. So he gets a equally fast press command there. And a celebration for going 3 for 3, 157.5 kilos. Here's John Jenkins coming right behind with 162.5. He's in our Masters 3 class, and these are our third attempts, so we'll be rounding out this flight here before we move on to Flight F. But first we've got John Jenkins. Strong off the chest, but can we find the lockout? It looks like it. Saw a little bit of forward and back motion and just a smidge of a teeter-totter, but again, that bar did not go back down. So that will be a good lift. John Jenkins finishes 3 for 3 and is your first place winner for the men's Masters 300 kilo class.
Pat Berklin is retaking 170 kilos. This will move him from third to second in the men's Raw open bench press in the 90 kilo division.
But we've got Monty Murphy waiting right behind him to take it right back. Or I apologize, Daniel Min is currently sitting in second. So if successful, Pat Berklin will take that second place spot from Daniel Min in the open 90 kilo class. And now he did miss his second attempt here. And it was on technicality, so we did have some up and downward motion. Maybe a missed command there. So we'll see if Pat's able to come back. Oh, it's not going to go, unfortunately. So Pat Birkland there will remain in third place. So that means Daniel Min is sitting in second place for the men's open 90-kilo class. But we do have one more 90-kilo bench presser, Todd Talford, lying at the very end of the flight. He is all but solidified that gold medal position for the 90 kilos. And then here's Monty Murphy, 374 pounds. He is our sole competitor in the Masters 1 90-kilo weight class. So either way, he's coming home with some hardware, but we obviously want to see him finish all three of his lifts. Here's 170 kilos. Yeah, we started to see it fall back towards the head there, and like we've seen many, many times throughout this competition, as soon as we start to see that bar fall towards the head, it's a lot harder to overcome.
I believe Monty competed not too long ago at the Masters World Cup over in Memphis, Tennessee.
And that was just a few short months ago.
Yep.
So very fast turnaround for some of our lifters. Here's Alec Chen of Blueprint Powerlifting. He's going for 380 pounds.
Looking to move himself from 6th to 5th. Hoping to come home with some hardware.
It's going to be a tough ask, though. We've got some pretty solid bench pressers lying and waiting. We're going to have to see. Oh, he's on his way up. He's on his way up. The spotter's going to have to grab it there. So, unfortunately, he does stay in that 6th place position. Now, Austin Covington, currently sitting in 5th, put an attempt in the open, put in an attempt that will put him in 4th place. And he is in 2 different divisions, both junior and open.
Austin will be retaking 175 kilos. I believe he missed it on his last attempt.
And that was on strength. If I remember, it didn't come off the chest too fast, nor did it come off too far. So kind of like what we saw earlier with Mr. Gary Villeneuve, hopefully we see it now with Austin Covington. Adriana and I were talking yesterday about with this sport, and I believe you and I were talking about it as well, you got to have a short memory with things like this. If something goes wrong on your next attempt and you have one more to go, forget it, move forward, obviously take your lessons. Let's see if Austin Covington is able to do that. Oh, unfortunately, no.
It almost looked like he might have been able to, but unfortunately it won't be there today.
He still comes home with some hardware, though. He is our 5th place finisher for the men's open 100-kilo class.
Derek Anderson looking to break into the 200-kilo mark. He is attempting 440 pounds, weighing in just under 100 kilos in our Masters 2 division.
And now Derek Anderson is one of our lifters. He is not registered for the open 100-kilo class. So he technically is not up against Todd Talford, Preston Savoy, Jermaine Lyles. But this is still an insane bench. And to go 3 for 3 at bench nationals with that 200-kilo notch in the belt would be fantastic. Here's Derek Anderson. Started to look a little misgrooved there, more so than strength. It looked like he, once off the press there, started to fall towards the opposite side there. We normally see the bar fall towards the head. This time, if we watch the press here, started to fall forward closer to the belly.
And very interesting attempt selection. He elected to go up 10 kilos from 190 kilos, whereas he went up 5 kilos from his opening bench from 185 to 190. So that's an interesting strategy elected by Derek Anderson.
All right, up next is Mr. Chad Carker, currently sitting in 3rd for the open 100-kilo class. And with this attempt, will remain there. And it's going to have to grab it by the spotters and loaders.
However, Chad still remains in that bronze medal position. his third place will not be threatened by the next 3 lifters.
And Todd Talford here. Ladies and gentlemen, Todd Talford looks like he's going to be bringing home a world record to the States and to the Carolinas. 497 pounds, 225.5 kilograms. So he is chipping that world record of 225 kilos, which as a 90-kilo lifter body weight.
Bit of a victory lap here. He's already secured the gold medal position, looking to extend that and take home a world record. As we stated earlier, we do have international referees sitting on the chair to adjudicate his world record attempt.
Oh, man. What an attempt there by Todd Talford. And at bench nationals, you know, you have to go for those world record attempts. And it was only a 5.5 kilo jump, so not out of his realm of possibility.
And in Todd's case, he already secured the gold medal position, so there really was no downside to missing this lift.
Up next is Jermaine Lyles. With this attempt, will remain in the second place position for the men's open 100 kilo class behind Preston Savoy, who's yet to go. Again, one of our lifters, very long range of motion, not very technical. Can he find his way through the press there? Unfortunately, no. That's going to be a no lift there, but we are seeing an attempt change here for Preston Savoy. He is already slated in first place for the men's open 100 kilo class. And he currently has 512 pounds loaded on the bar.
There we see Preston being handled by Cameron Barrio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bench Preston. 512 pounds. Raw power lifter, 220 pounds body weight. This is most folks' top end strength on squat and deadlift. And Preston Savoy is about to take it off his chest. Oh, a little bit of a bobble there.
However, he did walk away with the gold medal, ending his day with a 227.5 kilo bench, 501 pounds. And that, ladies and gentlemen, rounds out flight E. And now we're moving now into flight F with Stephen Lockwood opening us up with 137.5 kilos. Stephen is in our Raw Masters 3 division in the 110 kilogram division.
And with this flight here, so last flight we had our 90 kilo and 100 kilo lifters. This flight is going to be 110 to 140. And then our flight after this is going to be the 125 and the 140 plus weight classes. But Stephen Lockwood, easy opener there at 303 pounds. It's a Masters 3 opening with 300 pounds. You see him walk into the gym, all the kids are like, we're stronger. No, he can bench 300 super, super easily. Dan Vincent, 140 kilos. So that's 308 pounds. And now this is Daniel Vincent. Daniel actually competed at high school nationals over in April. Actually, not high school nationals, excuse me. He actually competed at the Southern Slam Down meet hosted by our very own Adriana Davis. I actually got to spot and load Hunter Vincent. He had a great time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Harley Stetnish, a world record attempt on the opener, 330 pounds. Not necessarily quite as fast as we would want to see an opener attempt, but it is a world record, so it's no small feat here. Ladies and gentlemen, as we get started with these next flight of lifters, we're joined by a world-class bench presser himself, Reginald Miles. Reginald, thank you for joining us on the stream. We're glad to have you.
Oh, glad and pleasure to be here. USA Powerlifting. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about you, kind of what your experiences are with USAPL, a little bit about your insane strength.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I've been lifting at USA Powerlifting a little bit over 12 years now. Accomplished lots and lots of national records. Hold currently the American record in the 83 and the 90 kilo Masters 1 class. Fortunately, I was coming here today to break the world record in Masters 2. I'm now Masters 2. Some complications came out. Didn't get a chance to register in time, but I'll be here next year for it.
That's right. Well, we're looking forward to it. And you've been competing for how long?
Every bit about 14 years.
14 years, ladies
Yes.
and gents. So, can I call you Reggie?
Of course.
Reggie's been competing for longer than most of our lifters in the morning sessions yesterday have been alive. Let's just think about that for a second. We had our youth lifters yesterday, and you've been lifting longer than they've been alive. That's insane. And what's your best bench? So we'll say you say you have the records for the 90 and the 100s.
For the 83
or
and
83
the 90.
and the 90. Sorry.
Yes, sir. Well, them benches was the 83 is 440. The 90 is 402. Yeah, so I'm just getting back off some injuries. Okay. I'm 100% now. I'm gonna do Georgia State meet in a few months. Looking to break the national record there, and go forth and go on. I just love this sport. It's drug-free, USA Powerlifting. Man, it's just so great to be here watching these youth come about and watch these newcomers. And I'd like to give them great inspiration. I'm glad to be here today.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we're glad to have you, and we're hoping to get your insight on some of these benches here. Obviously, you're no stranger to the national stage.
Yeah.
So you've been here a few times. So as we start to see things on the screen happen, we are going to turn it to you, see if we can't get what those lifters might be thinking, some thought process they might be going through.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, first up, 174 kilos for Lou Fasecco. And that is 383 pounds, and that's a world record attempt.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, though, it is an unofficial world record because we did not switch out the referees, it looked like.
Oh, wow.
As much as we love Adriana, and as much as she is a national level referee and deserving of all of her accolades, she was in the chair for that one, and she has not yet, as far as I know, received her world class or world stage category. So, fortunately, that is a no lift. We should be able to get that lift part properly adjudicated come next attempt. So, Reggie, when you're getting under a bench press and you're thinking about your opening attempt, what are some of the things that you're thinking of? Like, do you want it to be super light? Do you want it to be something you know you've hit?
Well, absolutely. And it all depends on too if it's what you go, if it's a world record you're going for. Sometimes you want to just save all your energy for and warm up really good, and come out for the whole world record. You know, and most national events is something like this. So you want to make sure you get the gold and kind of put a world record on your last lift. Because you can make small mishaps, you know, hand move, feet movement, not wrapped around, different little calls, but come off the bench. And you want to really fight for that national championship at national events. But like on my openers, I like them to be relatively pretty easy, something I can rep in the gym at least 5 times. You know, and it gives the judges the time to see your form, see how you setting up, and that means a lot too when it comes down to this, how the judges look at you and how you lift.
And we were talking about just a little bit earlier, Kevin alluded to, great, you know, we want to look at the starting position, right, of our lifters. If they start in a certain position, but then they finish, let's say their elbows are a little bit less locked out here, having these openers gives the referees a great opportunity to see that.
Exactly.
And Besa on that attempt electing to go no wrist wraps. I believe he's one of our only lifters to go no wrist wraps, which is a bold move. He's got 3 plates on the bar. Up next is Tommy with 418 pounds. Now, you've had that weight in your hands before. What does that feel like?
Oh, it feels magnificent. I always yell, you know, when I come to these events, I be so hyped. They used to call me the most hypest thing ever came through because I like to have fun. And when I yell more weight, the better. Bring on the weight. And it certainly feels good, especially at my age. Like I said, I'm a Master's 2 now. And, man, I just pulled it the other day for qualifications. Man, it feels great. Good squeeze. I've
only held it in my hands once. I haven't pressed it successfully, but I have held it. It hurts if you're not ready for it. And that just goes to show the pure strength of both Reggie here as well as the rest of our lifters in this flight.
Yes. Look at him.
That was a good lift by Tommy, 3 white lights. Now we have a Masters 1 lifter, age 40 to 49, who will be attempting 425 pounds.
And now, so we have our 110 and our 140 kilo weight classes in this flight again. So, Reggie, you said you were in the 82s, sort of in the 90 kilo range. So, for the folks at home, Reggie's just a couple weight classes below and punching about the same weight that the rest of these guys are. So, we're super grateful, one, to just be in the presence of strength, but to have that sort of insight on the stream here.
Absolutely. Let's see what we got today.
Very clean opener there.
Yeah, very clean. Good job, Tom.
And now, do you referee as well, or do you do anything else within the sport, or are you just a competitor?
I come in and volunteer most of the time earlier. I was planning on being a referee next year because I'll be doing my 83 kilo class next year. This year here, I just wanted the world records in the 90, then go down to the 83. So most of the events, even especially the state events, I go to and just come in and help everybody out. Free labor. I love, like I said, when I first talked, I love pushing these kids. I like to see them pushing for greatness. Okay.
Well, up next here is Troy Fasecco, and his dad, Lou Fasecco, is actually handling him. Another family affair we're seeing for bench nationals. All right, we're now on to second attempts here, taking it all the way up to Mr. Daniel Vinson. Daniel, again, had a very short turnaround. I do remember him competing at the Southern Slam Down with just a few short months ago, actually 2 months ago, in this same area, so Greenville, South Carolina. He's probably a local lad. He had a great day there. We'll see if he's going to have a great day here. 319 pounds. And let's look at that age here. Teen 2. Between the ages of 16 and 17, 319 pounds.
Oh, insane.
No wrist wraps either.
Oh, wow. Nice. Nice. Nice, Daniel.
Kids these days. And we were looking at some of the youth kids yesterday. I mean, some of these kids haven't even been in the driver's seat of a car. None of that are pushing weight that we've never even seen before.
Giving it all.
And again, goes to show folks, you're never too old, you're never too young to power lift. And powerlifting is one of those sports that you can do forever, provided you maintain healthy. And even if you're not as healthy, everyone's going to come across a few bumps and injuries here. Reggie, you said yourself you've coming off of injury, so
yes.
Everyone's going to experience that. But, I mean, here's Stephen Lockwood. Fortunately doesn't get that press command, but as a Masters 3 lifter, still able to compete at the national level.
Absolutely. And all these guys older have had injuries such as mine, surgery, knee surgery, hip surgeries. And they did keep coming back. Everybody that's older than me, I always tell them, man, y'all my inspiration because y'all still here. Here we go. Who we got here now?
Well, this is Harley Stentish, Teen 1 lifter. So in contrast to his prior lift, while it was a world record, it was not technical because we did not have world-class, that sounds rough, world categorized judges adjudicating the lift. So now we do. Harley Stentish is going up 157.5 kilos, going up to 347 pounds.
And Harley
As
is 15 years of age.
Wow. Wow.
15 years old.
Make sure I shake his hand before I leave.
347 pounds.
For the folks at home just thinking, I mean, let's think about our families, right? Let's think about all the folks that our families know. Think about all the kids that are 14, 15 in our family, cousins, nieces, nephews. And then ask how many of them are pressing above 3 plates.
Yes, yes.
You'll be hard-pressed to find one. Up. So started to bobble a little bit off the chest there. And that's perfectly okay. He does have one more attempt, so we'll get to see him come back.
And in situations like that I've been in, and I generally like to just go back with the same weight. Just in case I burn something out and I just want the world record, I'm going to stay with the same weight.
You never want to get too greedy. You never want to overextend yourself. You want to secure the record. You already know that 147.5 will secure the record, so you just want to go ahead and retake that for the third attempt.
Yeah, it was at the end of the day, and we were seeing this yesterday with our full power youth competition. I mean, the same holds true for bench as well. You want to be sure we add as much weight to our final number as we can, because that's what's going to get us our placing, and that's what's going to give us the gold medal in our classes. Ryan Grande going up 10 kilos to 165. That's going to be a good lift as well. 363 pounds. Mike Burns coming right after him in the Masters 2 class, 110 kilos, taking 369 pounds. And now, Reginald, where are you from?
I'm actually from Florida,
Okay.
but I'm presiding right here in Greenville. I've been here the last 5 years. My wife in the Army, and it brought us here, and I love the place. I'm close to G and them, always watching out with them.
Awesome. So you're no stranger to the Greenville heat.
No,
the
no.
Greenville humidity.
No stranger.
It's actually not too bad today. So.
No, it's actually. I mean, like I said, I'm from Florida, so.
Oh, you're used to it.
Yeah, I love the heat.
Ooh, here we go, folks. Lou Fasecco, father of Troy Fasecco, who's our flight finisher. We see an interesting increment on the bar there, a 0.5, or a 1.5, excuse me, which means this is a American record attempt. 400.1 pounds, locked and loaded, and he's a Masters 3 lifter.
That's what I'm
60
talking
to 69 years old. Regardless of age, regardless of weight class, 400 pounds on a bench press, and Reggie can absolutely tell you is a phenomenal feat.
Absolutely. And I'm very impressed with what he's going to do right now, attempting it.
And there's his son. Looks like he's handling him. Both representing Titan, one of our primary sponsors. I think that's a world record. Little up and down. Never mind.
3 white lights.
3 white lights.
And that's a world record for Lou Fasecco for the Masters 3 class. Let's watch that one more time. We got another angle courtesy of Barbell Productions. Nope.
Stays patient.
Perfect.
Did not go up and down at all. We saw a little bit of forward back motion, which, like we said, the bar can do. As long as it doesn't go down, that's a world record for Mr. Lou Fasecco. And again, both of them are wearing Titan singlets, one of the primary sponsors for our competition this weekend. One of the most long-time sponsors for USAPL since the early 80s. They make all sorts of gear, singlets, knee sleeves, wrist wraps, knee wraps, suits, all of the above. So we're glad to see Titan on the platform as always.
So we see Brendan got a replace command from the referee. And as we spoke about it earlier, when the session first began, the side referees and all the referees are making sure that lifters are in an adequate starting position, meaning that their butt is in contact with the bench, feet are flat on the ground, and elbows are locked out.
Very clean there. And so, Reggie, I wonder if you've ever been in this situation here where you go into a second attempt bench, right? And
Yes.
let's say for some reason, like Brandon he had to replace that rack. Well, he's already unracked the bar, right? Well, now that he's had to take that press again, that looked super, super tough.
Yes.
What would you do there?
Well, doing that, I have to. You have no choice but to go back. I mean, you here, you have to try it out. I just put in my mind, I just started, and replace my mind more than anything, because sometimes that is the most important thing, because you want to make sure you get your leg dry, make sure you have your hands squeezed tight, and you're coming off perfect. So you just got to restart your mind completely and just say drive.
Right. And that just plays into the mentality, and speaks to the resilience that a lot of our lifters have, especially after missing lifts, to be able to turn on that switch, kick in that fourth gear. Here's Beza, 440 pounds. Brendan actually is not going again.
We see Tommy getting hyped up for 200 kilos.
Yeah, makes sense. So we're looking at the LiftingCast now. Brendan Adamson, he did make that second attempt now, but looking at the prospective third attempts for our lifters, he put in a 0. So that means he's done for the day. That means he is effectively scratching that attempt like we saw earlier. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. 2 for 2 is still 100%. He still got both of his lifts, whether or not he had a replace command. So he's on the board.
Could have been a PR, could have been all he had on the day, but ultimately Brendan will end with 182.5 kilos. He does successfully break over the 400-pound barrier.
And then Tommy was a good lift there at 440 pounds. Tim Crawford right behind with 202.5 kilos, 446 pounds.
Tim lifting in our Masters 1 division, 40 to 49 years of age. And again, this flight is a mix between 110 and 140 kilo lifters.
Wow.
Smooth bench by Tim.
And now, Reggie, when you bench, do you do more of like a wide grip or kind of a closer grip?
I tend to go mid-range, see the work where I can find my most power at, coming and make sure my knees are out, flared out just past them. It tends to work perfect. But training, I make sure I go wide, in the middle, and medium, just for training purposes. To make sure I'm building all the chest and explosive from all angles, just in case you never know what your day feel like.
And that's a great thing you alluded to. You never know what the day is going to feel like. So let's say you go into this attempt here. Well, first off, here's Troy, his dad watching on. Very fast second attempt. Wow. 451. But let's say, God forbid, something happened to Troy on that attempt, for example. He did come away fine, but let's say something did happen there. And you're forced in a situation where you've got to bring your grip in. You know, let's say you have some sort of, let's say you pull something in your pec that's minor enough that you can keep going, but major enough that it will affect your technique. You might have to switch your grip around a little bit going into your next attempt.
Yeah, most people that catch shoulder, tears and stuff, it hurts to go wide. And most of them, everybody tend to say, if I lift in the middle, I feel good because it's using more triceps. But like you say, you might want to come in just a little bit to take some of that pain off.
Well, folks, we're back to the top of the order now. Our last attempts for Flight F here. Stephen Lockwood's going to start us off retaking 325. It looks like he's going to find his way. Oh, man, what a grind that was. What an attempt that was. Let's check the replay here. Off the chest, phenomenal speed. But like we've seen many, many times, and we'll likely see through the rest of these third attempts, that elusive sticking point is going to hit us. What are some of the ways that you've found to break past that sticking point?
Well, to be honest with you, I keep in my mind drive. Because sometimes you come down and feel easy, then you get to a certain point, then you push with all you got when you stop. But if you learn to just drive and keep the momentum, you can get past the sticking point. And we're here for the last lifts too. I mean, you got to go all the way out.
That's right. Up next, we've got another attempt at a world record for Harley Stentnish.
Harley will be actually retaking his 157.5 kilo attempt. Didn't quite get it on the second attempt, is looking to retake it here on the third.
And again, this kid is between the ages of 14 and 15 years old, benching more than 99% of the population of all ages. He's about to put up 347 pounds here.
About 1.5 times his body weight as a teen one lifter.
Yeah, so I kind of had an inkling there. The descent there was not necessarily shaky, but it was very, very slow. And I do remember his prior two attempts, he descended just a little bit faster. And while you are focusing a lot more on the press and you want to use that control, going slower on the descent when you're not used to that actually saps a lot more energy than you're used to. Mr. Mike Burns taking 380 pounds.
Yeah, Mike Burns has been around for many years.
Sorry, he's like you say, he's a Masters 2 lifter, so very long, extensive career with USA Powerlifting. And it goes to show here, a Masters 2 lifter putting on a Master Class 3 white lights.
Right.
Mike Burns' wife actually lifted earlier in the session one. Sue Burns, she ended her day with 60 kilograms.
Both of them get to go home and do a nice winner chicken dinner. 3 for 3 for both of them tonight.
Both being Masters 2 lifters in their 50s.
Yes.
All right. Up next, 175 kilos, 385.
One of our junior lifters.
This is going to be a grande lift for Brian. Let's see it.
Yep.
And grande it was.
Yes.
Close grip as well. Very close grip.
Yes.
Uh-oh, ladies and gents. We've still got one more attempt. And we've got Lou Fasecco coming back up now. Going up 0.5 kilos to truly chip his own American record here.
Looking for that hat trick, 3 for 3 on the records.
We've only seen that happen once this whole weekend.
Wow.
Happened super early this morning. Miss Helene, 3 for 3, 3 world records.
All right.
And again, this is the smallest increment possible to go up in USA Powerlifting. You can't go up 0.115. So the lowest we can add to the bar is a 0.25 kilos, which means 0.5 added onto the bar. This is 401 pounds. 1 pound more than his second attempt. Oh, unfortunately not able to get the hat trick there. And listen,
Yes.
when it's 1 pound, do you worry like that? Like, do you worry about missing that 1 pound?
Well, to be honest with you, after breaking the world record, he used a lot of juice there. You're not really worried about it because you already got the world record intact.
Mm-hmm.
But you still want to go out and give your all and put just 1 more pound on it. But it does get heavier by the pound.
It does, and especially when you're hitting close to 450 twice in a row.
Yes.
Or sorry, he did 400.7, and then this one was 401. So,
Yes.
like I said, that 1 pound, especially when you're giving your all for that prior attempt, it's going to take a lot out of you.
Yeah.
Timothy Crawford up now, going up to 205 kilos, 450.
And now we see a beautiful attempt here for Timothy.
A very nice looking bench.
And we're going to see it a little bit more with our heavier weight benchers. They're electing to use more of a sink into their chest than a soft touch. What are some of the differences between the two?
Well, the heavier they are, they have more mass, and they can throw their weight. Not just with their muscle, they can throw the weight up. And, the lighter people, we don't have that extra bit of mass. We tend to just lay it kind of soft and come out with leg drive.
Right. And it definitely allows, if you have more of a soft touch like you were alluding to. Here's Troy real quick. So going to that sink.
Yes.
He's able to find his way.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things we see with the sink here is they'll sink, but then the bar will just keep going and going and going and going. Whereas, conversely, with that soft touch that you were alluding to, as soon as that bar touches the chest, you get that press command. So it's a little bit less variability with the soft touch. However, you do get more overall power with a sink, especially right off the chest here.
Very interesting case here with Baez that he and Tommy will be attempting the same weight at 210 kilos and both lifting in the same weight class.
Besa right now ahead on, or actually Tommy is actually ahead on body weight now.
If Baez hit this and Tommy misses, Baez will actually win the gold medal.
Okay, so Besa got that attempt there, 210 kilos. Currently in provisional first place. Now Tommy here, also, he only has to hit the same weight.
Yes.
He only has to hit the same weight because as long as he does that, he will win on body weight advantage. Have you ever come into situations like that in your career?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, most of the time you lift in certain weight divisions like B masters and stuff, you go in and check, see who you're going against. And, do your pre-work, how you want to say it? Absolutely.
Yeah, like scouting. Yeah.
Absolutely. In this case right here, this is one of the biggest cases. Doing your homework, seeing what you think he can do.
Yep, we see in this case that both lifters actually took the exact same opener, second and third attempts, and Tommy comes out with the win, being the lighter lifter of the two.
Should he hit this attempt?
Yep.
So this is an interesting little battle here. It puts Tommy in a bit of a pressure situation here. Yes. It truly is first or second here for the open 110 kilo class. His championship reign will begin if he hits this. Here's Tommy, 462. And he does it, ladies and gentlemen. Tommy is your new 110 kilo weight class bench press champion, winning on body weight against Besa by almost 6 kilos on body weight.
And ladies and gentlemen, in the instance where we have two lifters who have elected to lift the same weight, we have this thing called lot numbers, which are randomly generated numbers. It's an order in which weigh-ins are determined, and it's also the order in which lifters will go out into the platform if they so choose to select the same weight. So in the instance of Basa and Tommy, Basa had the lower lot number, which means that if they both elected 210 as their third bench press, and for all their lifts, to be frank, Basa was the first lifter to go out and lift before Tommy.
All right, folks, we are on to our last flight of bench pressing for session 2 of the USAPL 2024 Bench National Championship. And like I said, we have our 125s and our 140-plus weight classes, which means we are going to see some big weight on the bar, ladies and gents. Elias is going to start us off opening with 352.
Oh, wow.
Masters 1 lifter. Coming up next, Jeff Smith, 363 pounds. All right, bar is locked and loaded for him. Like we said, folks, with these opening attempts, we want to make sure that they're fairly light. Reggie alluded to, we wanted to make that something that you could easily hit in the gym for reps. One thing that I tell my clients is if you can hit it, between that 3 to 5 rep range, it's going to be a solid opener.
Yeah.
Jeff Smith there, so kind of along that same vein, a little bit slower. Just a little bit slower on that opening attempt. That being said, he is on the board. So he might be one of those lifters that can take those smaller jumps and still be able to make the bench move. We'll just have to wait and see.
We're quickly working our way into the 400 pounds as we have David Sneen coming up next. David actually competed just a few months ago in our Masters World Cup in Memphis, Tennessee.
Very short turnaround again, and we're seeing that pretty commonly among a lot of our Masters lifters. Here's David Sneen. And this is 402 pounds as a Masters 3.
Yes.
400 pounds as a Masters 3. And Reggie can tell you, holding that weight in your hands, while it may feel great, it is still heavy.
Yes.
It is still heavy. And being able to do this at the ripe young age of between 60 and 69, you can't wait to see David Sneen. The clock is ticking. So the bar is loaded.
He has about 30 seconds to set up and get that initial start command.
Okay, we're getting, so we can hear a little bit from the judges here. We can kind of see a little bit of emotion there from Mr. Tony Lee. Unfortunately, David Sneen is not here today. So unfortunately, he did not come out. So in this situation here, he is going to time out. And even though he's not here, they are going to still allow his 1 minute to run. Oh, we actually just got, no, he actually is here. He just had to collect some, do some other things outside of the gym. But here he is now, David Sneen. Well, he actually did time out of that lift, but he'll come back, likely retaking that. And Caleb Woodard, a hometown lifter out of Greer, South Carolina, so just a short drive away from Greenville. He's going 424 pounds as an opener. Caleb, not only a very strong bencher, but a very solid full power athlete as well. Squatting and benching well into the 5s and 6s. There you go. There's that soft touch that you were talking to, and
absolutely.
you saw how fast he got that press command as well.
Yes. You stay tight when you do the soft touch because you get down, you loosen up your traps. You let a lot loose when you come down and just rest like that. Then everything got to come back together on your explosion.
More often than not, that's kind of what I try to teach my lifters, because when, especially towards the heavier weight lifters, like you said, they've got more mass, they can kind of use that sink to give them that upward momentum. But a lot of times in order to do that, most people think it's just sinking and going. There's a lot more technique that actually goes into that, a lot more tension that needs to be remembered when you're doing that sink, and it's just a lot easier to do it with a soft touch.
Absolutely.
Here's Kirill. Exactly like I just said. He sunk, but it stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
nice.
nice.
A super fast command there.
That was nice.
And again, the referees aren't counting seconds. They're making sure that the bar is motionless on the chest in order to give that press command.
All right, here's Mr. Dylan Johnson. 440 pounds. Now we're starting to get into some big weight, ladies and gents. And this is our last flight of bench pressing for this session and our last flight of bench press nationals. I looked at that screen and I missed his attempt because it was that fast. What a move there.
Yes.
Dylan Johnson, 200 kilos.
463 pounds.
Here's Brandon Stouffer, 210 kilos, 462 pounds. Wow.
Very fast and very close.
As shaky as that unrack was, he blasted that off the chest there. And we see Brandon making good use of the head up rule. Have you ever used that before, like kind of going down to the chest and allowing your neck to rise off the bench?
Well, fortunately, I started with USA Powerlifting before they let that be legal. I think they just did that in 2022 when you can move the head. And I'm still staying with what I've learned before, but it does help. It does help when they press on and press out like that with the head up and the press in the middle. I've seen so many lifters doing it now. But I tend to just let my head stay in the gutter. Good base.
Very smooth opener by George. 468 pounds. He is a Masters 2 lifter. He's in his 50.
Bars loaded now for Andrew Bonner. Whoo! We're getting into some heavy openers, ladies and gents. 473 pounds. And this is raw. Ladies and gents, this is not equipped. They are not wearing bench shirts underneath those singlets. This is raw powerlifting. Andrew Bonner, 473 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You blink and you miss it.
So if you were handling him, what would you put on the bar next?
Oh, next, that was 215 there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I actually go ahead and go up to 235.
I actually,
kilos.
you know what? I
That
think
was
that
very
would be a
fast.
solid jump.
Yes, that was really, really fast. And it's always good to see who else lifting your class too. So like I say, strategy means a lot too. All depends on in your class. If you're trying to win the gold, it's nationals. You want to come out in first place.
So now we are over 500 pounds on our raw bench presses for today. Callistus opening up with 518 as an opener. He is in the 140 plus division. Again, these are big boys lifting.
518 pounds, ladies and gents. Most folks squat this. Actually, let me rephrase that. Most folks don't squat this. Or even deadlift this.
Another one of those easy.
Wow.
openers.
Yeah,
Chest on the chest.
they fired up today.
Wow.
But that's not our heaviest bench press of the day. We have Alvin Roswell opening up with 242.5 kilos.
534 pounds. Alvin Roswell. I can't even begin to think what is going through his mind. Well, this is an opener, so he's probably hit this many times before.
Yeah, this would be the biggest opener today, right?
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
This is the type of weight you'd see with the equipped bench presses.
And this opener is actually more than some of the heavier equipped bench presses we've seen. Taking his time getting set up under that bar. I mean, when you've got 530 on the bar, you've got to take all the time you need. Still got plenty of time, 20 seconds here. Wow. Not necessarily as fast as the prior two. However, for an opener, that was very, very solid. Let's watch that back one more time. And again, folks, like Kevin alluded to, we're at the 500-pound mark, or surpassed that mark, so now we need all 5 spotters on the bar.
We're now back to our second attempt. We have Elias going up to 170 kilos, taking a 10-kilo jump.
So 374 for the raw power lifter. Bar is loaded. And now we've talked about openers, we've talked about third attempts. What is your general thought process for second attempts? Is that just another weight that is a stepping stone, or what are some strategies that you see with that?
Well, the first strategy is to see how anybody in your class, how good they opener look and how much they push.
Mm-hmm.
You want to stay on top of that at a meet like this here. Like I said, this nationals, you want to win the gold. And that tells me how far should I go? Should I push it a little further? So, because he looked kind of stuck on heels and to close out, then he might not go for mine, and I get my lift.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty much in tight for the gold. So it's definitely on your competitors and how good your opener was. Where you got picked for that second opener.
Right.
Here we go. Who we got now?
We got Jeff Smith, 385 pounds. Masters 2, 59 years old. 385 pounds. I've said it quite a bit. I'd just be grateful to still be lifting at that age. Not to mention being on the national stage, putting up what most people can squat. Oh, man, what a grind there. Jeff Smith not able to get the lockout there, but we do have one more attempt.
Up next, we have David Sneen, who timed out on his opening bench, is now retaking 182.5 kilos, looking to get on the board. He is a Masters 3 lifter. David currently holds the American record bench in the Masters 3 bench press.
There we go, David Sneen for his second bench attempt. David Sneen, actually the author of his own book, Wannabe Athlete to American Record, My Improbable Journey. Check it out on Amazon. It's rated 5 stars. David Sneen.
Looking to get on the board with a 400-pound bench. Very easy opener. My goodness.
Another one of those where no matter how shaky it might seem coming off the rack, it'll still be pressed no matter what.
As we mentioned earlier, David competed at the Masters World Cup in Memphis, Tennessee just a few months ago. Put up a great bench over there as well. Kirill up next with 202.5 kilos.
£446. Bar is loaded for him, so the clock is ticking. Another awesome angle. Many, many angles provided very beautifully by our barbell productions team. Very, very smooth.
Yes.
I wonder if he missed that rack command, though. He started to, never mind. 3 white lights. Disregard anything I just said. Here we get the good view of the judge's hand. Okay, so he did get that rack command. That's going to be a good lift. So Kirill's 2 for 2 up next. Dylan Johnson, 457 pounds. Going full width here. Looks like he's going full max grip here, which is that index finger on the smooth ring on the outside of the bar.
Yeah.
Very strong bench by Dylan.
Yes.
Caleb Woodard.
Watch this here. So very slow, methodical on the way down here. Just like we were alluding to earlier, even though he did have that sink, the moment he stopped all that motion, it was super fast, but he did stop all that motion. And as soon as he did, he got that press command. So super fast, and you can only get that press command as fast as you can bring it down to the chest motionless.
Absolutely.
Here's Caleb Woodward. Second attempt here, 457 pounds. Lifting out of Tri-Fit Barbell, as well as Alpha Strength Gym. Both phenomenal facilities in Greenville, South Carolina. Very soft touch there. Hit a little bit of a sticking point on that on the left arm there, excuse me, but was able to pull through. Up next is Jorge Castaneda. And now Jorge, he's been competing for a while. He has been competing since 2018 as an exclusively bench competitor. We've got his open powerlifting up now. He's been competing since 2018 in the Texas Iron Wars, and now today making his second appearance at third appearance, excuse me, at Bench Press Nationals for USA Powerlifting.
He's been on the stage before. He knows what it's all about, and looking to collect another title.
He also competed in last year's Masters World Cup, putting up a 440-pound bench. So this is way higher than that. There we go, 479. 479, and he is in the
Masters 2 division,
in the 125 class. And so that will be close to matching his all-time bench. He did hit 485. So we'll see if we'll get anywhere close to that, if not a smidge higher, since he is a weight class up. And have you found, Reggie, in your experience where, like, because I know you said you've gotten records in a couple different weight classes here, did you notice any differences in your bench, like with technique or how strong you feel when going between those classes?
Absolutely. Great. It's a great difference. I try to get to the top or the bottom or each weight class. In the 83 kilo class, I try to be right at the highest I can weigh in that weight class. And I switched to the 90 kilo class. I try to be top in that class, which is relatively 18-pound difference. And I mean, working the two is like, you know, I want to do one year, one the next. I want to try to keep them close together.
Right.
Yes.
And that's all about maximizing all the available resources you have at your disposal. If you are within a weight class, it's only to your best interest to try to max it out, try to build as much muscle, try to really fill out that weight class.
Absolutely.
All right, here's Andrew Bonner. We've got all the spotters on the bar now.
We are now over 500 pounds.
His opener was phenomenal.
And again, I believe this is
He
about
blasted that.
twice his body weight. This is a 2 times body weight bench for Andrew.
Wow.
Yes.
Really easy press command. Holds it there motionless on the chest. No signs of struggle.
Wow. What an insane press there. And you were exactly right. We did say he was going to go. So we opened at 215, and we passed it to Red. You said, oh, he's probably going to go 230, 235. Exactly right here. Went 230, absolutely blasted it. Where would you take him now?
I say 240.
240? Okay.
Yep.
I might go just a little bit higher. I might say 242, 245.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think you take another
I'm a shooter.
15 kilos
I'm a
down.
shooter.
yeah, yes.
245, 242 and a half might be there, but I think 240 is that safe bet. But
240 would be a beautiful call. Here's Callistus, a world record attempt. So we do have all judges in the seats. This is 545 pounds. I can only chuckle at this weight. I can't do anything but fathom what this might feel like in someone's hands. I know what it feels like on my back. It's heavy. Can't wait to see this lift here. Very methodical lift off here. Again, when you've got 500 pounds in your hands, you've got to be super sure that it's lifted off how you want it.
Oh, yeah. Fight it.
So we found lockout, but I'm worried about the hips. The lift is no good, 2-1. So we've got one yellow, one blue. I imagine that yellow was for the butt coming up.
blue might have been called from the up and down by the
motion.
center referee.
Let's see the back view here.
We'll
Head
see if
judge
they
saw
take
a
that
little
lift
bit
to the
of.
jury.
Yes, that's an important thing too. We do have a jury at this meet, and as long as you have one white light, looks like coach is taking a trip over to that table now. As long as you've got one white light, you can take it to the jury. Even if it's 3 reds, you can take it to the jury here. Have you ever found yourself in situations where there was a jury involved and you had to go to them?
Fortunately, yes. I mean, if you feel like you know you did good, you want to at least know what you need to straighten up. If not anything else, if they give you the call, great. But if not, you want to focus on whatever they say the problem was.
Yep.
That's a very, you know what, that's an interesting aspect too, because oftentimes you think, well, you've got a jury. If you think you did it, go to the jury. But, you know, in a separate vein, in terms of maintaining focus for what's happening right in front of you, forget about it, think about what they said you did wrong, and just address it for the next attempt.
Absolutely.
Here's Alvin Roswell. So it looked like it did have a little bit of a pause there, but it kept going up. Butt stayed down, it seemed, and it did. 3 white lights.
Like we saw in Alvin's opener, it comes really fast off the chest, but it really is that lockout, that sticking point that he struggles with, but he's able to make quick work of it and secures another 10 kilos, jumping from 242.5 to 252.5.
You can tell he definitely does his tricep pushdowns. All right, we're now at the top of the order, ladies and gentlemen. We're here. We're on our last bench press attempts for the 2024 USA Powerlifting Bench Press National Championships here in Greenville, South Carolina. And Jeffrey Smith is going to start us off for our final round. He's going to retake 175 kilos. Oh, can he make his way? No, unfortunately not. And that's an interesting thing, too, you notice with the bench press where when your body takes over, and your hips start to rise there, that actually makes it harder for you to press the bar up because you're effectively pushing the bar closer to your head. You're not necessarily helping yourself there, but
Yeah.
we also saw the hips come up, the feet come up as well, so truly a maximal effort.
He lost a lot of momentum. He slid a little bit.
Yep. Up next, we have David Sneen, who timed out on his opener, managed to hit 182.5 on his second, and is now opted to jump 11 kilos to 193.5 kilos, which will be a world record attempt for the Masters 3 lifter. He is in his 60s. David Sneen is 68 years of age.
David Sneen might have to write himself a new book, from American record to world record, if he gets this attempt here. David Sneen, 146.
All right. Going for a world record, right?
Let's do it. World record, 426 pounds. Let's see it. David Sneen. Masters 3, here we go. Again, between the ages of 60 and 69. He's already coming home with the gold medal for the Masters 3. Let's see if he can come home with a world record.
Oh,
David
wow.
Sneen gets it done.
Wow.
And that is a new world record.
You see it here, folks. World records are broken here.
That's right. USA Powerlifting.
USA Powerlifting. What a show.
Not only the best in the USA, but he is the best in the world.
We will definitely have to change the name of that book. From American record to world record, David Sneen. One of many this weekend. He's in elite company, taking home a world record. Coming up right behind is Kirill.
Yeah, that should have him hyped too. It's good to see stuff like that going on. Keep the momentum going.
Exactly. In situations like that where I kind of wished it was full power too, because riding that momentum going into deads, oh man, that's a whole different story.
Absolutely.
And you've done both bench press and full power, correct?
Oh yes, I've done both.
Which is more fun?
Bench press.
Yeah.
I just love the bench press.
Here's Caleb Woodard. Bar's getting loaded for him, 212.5 kilos. So a 5 kilo jump, about 11 pounds. Modest increase from second to third there. Or sorry. Nope, 5 kilos, excuse me.
Caleb is currently in your third place spot. We'll see how these podium spots shake up after we're done benching in our 125 kilo division.
I really enjoy just how Gino stares at you ominously.
Yes.
The pirate of powerlifting, dude, we love Gino. He's probably one of the most recognizable figures in powerlifting, in strength sports, you could even say. He's been on every stage imaginable. He's reffed on every stage imaginable. That's a good lift for Caleb Woodard. You can hear the shout back here.
Yes.
Bringing home a 3 for 3 for Greenville. Let's watch this back one more time. So we saw that right foot slide a little bit. And now it's important to note there the foot is allowed to slide. As long as the heel doesn't come up and as long as the foot doesn't come up, it is still a good lift.
As it currently stands, Dylan is in fourth place, looking to move himself into third with his 215 kilo bench press, though we still have Brandon left to lift. This will provisionally move him into third should he hit.
Good attempt there by Dylan Johnson. Up next is Brandon Stouffer.
Brandon is looking to snag a silver medal, looking to swap his bronze for silver. Looking to take that silver from Caleb Woodard, who just recently hit 212.5 kilos.
and he did miss that second attempt on strength. And so if successful, like you said, he will beat out Caleb for that, but it is going to be a tall order. Let's see if Brandon Stouffer can make it happen here. We've seen it happen already. We have that miss on strength, and we're able to come back and hit it for that third. Let's see if Brandon is able to keep the same energy here.
Looks like Gino rooting them on really good right there, too.
Yep, always a hype man. Oh, and unfortunately
Not going to go. And so with that, he is going to still remain in third place. So he does come away with a bronze medal. He does finish in the top 3 in the country. The men's open 125 kilo class. Up next is Jorge. £485 is his top end strength, but this is 501 pounds. What time does the next session start? All right. Jorge, obviously no stranger to the national stage. Unfortunately, that's not going to go. Phenomenal attempt there by Jorge.
he still walks away with the gold medal in his division as a Masters 2 lifter.
He did IPF bench championships 2 months ago. Can he do that? Up next is Andrew Bonner. And looks like we were all wrong. Andrew Bonner only electing to go up that 5 kilo jump.
Keep it safe.
Obviously, he knows his body more than we do.
Keep it safe.
Again, he does have the win. He already benched more than all other lifters in his class. Just looking to do a victory lap, picking up another 5 kilos.
Proudly representing Titan Strength Systems on the platform there.
This is well above 2 times his body weight. An insane bench press regardless of how much you weigh.
Insane squat for some people. Even more
So
insane
one could
deadlift
wish.
for others. Wow.
Amazing bench press. He probably did have 240.
I would say you probably did have 240. Definitely didn't have 245.
Okay, here we go again.
Oh, folks, here we go again. Call me Daft Punk the way we've got a world record attempt one more time.
One more time.
247.5 kilos.
One more world record coming up.
Callista is looking to redeem himself. Just narrowly missed 247.5 kilos. Looking to re-attempt it on his third attempt.
All right, bars loaded. Here we go. 545 pounds.
As a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, he is a Masters 2 lifter in his 50s. Callistus is 55 years of age.
To put it in perspective, I hit this as my third attempt as a squat when I was 20. And he's benching it between 50 and 59 years old. Callistus, let's see if he's able to find that redemption. It was a big jump from first to second. That's 12.5 kilo jump, which is a lot with a bench press. We'll see what happens. Here's Callistus.
Yeah.
Find the lockout, find the lockout.
Is-
Oh,
is
no,
that-
no, 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 no. Oh,
Just narrowly
no.
misses it at the top.
And it goes to show, folks, those sticking points can be super individual,
Yes.
right? We've seen folks stick off the chest. We've seen folks halfway. That was so close to lockout there.
And just look at the speed it comes off the chest.
Yes.
You just think he's going to hit it, but it stops right there and just loses all the momentum. But great effort by Callistus nonetheless.
Absolutely.
We now have our last bench press of the day of USA Powerlifting Bench Nationals. We have Alvin Roswell looking to take another 10 kilo jump to 262.5 kilos.
This would be his biggest attempt today.
578, huh?
Would it be his biggest attempt today
Yep.
so far?
Biggest raw bench of the day. Yep.
Biggest raw bench of the entire competition.
Looking to close out Bench Nationals.
Phenomenal run, even clean 10-kilo jumps across the board. This is 578 pounds for the last bench press of 2024 Bench Press National Championships. We're in Greenville, South Carolina, and we're live with Alvin Roswell. $262.5 kilos. Unfortunately not able to find that juice. Kind of like what you were saying earlier with that sink. Obviously, it is very fast off the chest, and they're able to use that momentum.
Yeah.
Then when it comes to the triceps.
But if you look rough the break, he had to balance back out before he went down, before the judge. That one little second could take a lot of strength on balancing out. So you want to be good and tight all the time.
That's right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That is it. We are done with the 2024 USAPL Bench Press National Championships. What a performance it was across the board. I mean, we started off with our equipped lads and ladies yesterday, and today we've had an entire session of just benching, men and women, all ages, world records broken, American records broken, state records broken, some hearts broken as well with some of those missed attempts, placings had, placings lost. Overall, a phenomenal competition. What do you guys think?
Oh, magnificent, man. It was one of the best national meets I've ever been to. Everything fit perfect. Everybody came here and drove for their best. And what we love to see is the effort. Everybody giving their all, and that's what we saw today. Everybody come here to give their all with USA Powerlifting.
Right. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap up here. We're going to go ahead and get the platform set up for the next lift in the next session. My name is Nick Stevens.
And my name is Reginald Miles.
And my name is Kevin Serrano.
And we will see you for the next session. Y'all be well.
All right, and we out of here.
Our next session starts at 3. See you soon.
Thank you, brother. That was very fun.